go ahead and do exactly that. We're going to record. We've got a great panel this morning, and I'm going to start our gratitude and our shout outs this morning. I actually was reading one of Michelle Obama's books this week, and then I listened to some of her convention speech. So I'm going to start with that. She said, "We learned about dignity and decency, that how hard you work matters more than how much you make, that helping others means much more than getting ahead yourself. We learned about honesty and integrity, that truth matters, that you don't take shortcuts or play by your own set of rules, and that success doesn't count unless you earn it fair and square. And we learned about gratitude and humility, that so many people had a hand in our success. And we were taught to value everyone's contribution and treat everyone with respect." I really love that. No matter which side of the political spectrum you're on, it's really good stuff to live by. This morning, who's got some gratitude, shout outs, anything for their peers, the people around them, or what's happening in their life that they're grateful for? Go ahead and put your hand up and we will get started with that, and then we will move on. Whoa, all right. Sharky, good morning.
Hey, good morning. First time caller, long time listener. I want to give some gratitude just to everyone in the Austin team that has been so quick to give me support. Even when they just see me slightly uncertain about something, they're willing to chime in instead of letting me dangle. And I totally see it, and I appreciate it, and I feel it. So thanks, everybody.
Love having you here, Sharky. That's awesome. Very cool. Elizabeth, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I am grateful that Built How is next week. It's my first one. And I don't know if I'm even, I've never been. And I don't know if I'm even if it's been announced or anything, but Jolene and Ben have asked me to be the MC for Place Day, which Valencia was able to do last year. So glad to keep the Texas.
Wow,
the Texas spirit. I have no idea what I'm doing. So we'll figure it out, but grateful for all the opportunities that are out there.
Oh man, you know what? You have something in common with all of us. None of us really know what we're doing. Don't worry. It's all good. You're in such good company. Such good company. I love that. Wow, Texas is showing up. I love it. Ray, good morning.
Hey, good morning. I just wanted to give a shout out to my team and Brandon. They've been really supportive with me for some circumstances that have been going on. Yep. And I'm just so thankful for them. And it's because of them that my business has been able to keep on moving. And I'm also able to see a clearer vision of what it really takes to make it in this business by them being examples. So thank y'all. BKTSA, love y'all.
I love that. Awesome. Right on. And I want to shout out Michaela. She designed some really cool shirts that I saw Elizabeth having on Instagram. I follow all you guys on Instagram. If you ever post, I will probably see it. I love to follow our people in Texas. There we go. There's the shirt. It's a really cool shirt. Look how nice it is. I did not think about stuff like this. Our team is definitely not coming in wearing anything cool. We might even wear our place shirts. That might be as far as we're gonna go. I love that. Great job. I'm gonna give a couple shout outs. Sarah in Austin, she did a first time buyer seminar for the first time during South by Southwest. Yes, that's what it is. So that was very cool. So shout out to her. And then Louisa in Austin, she did a second event at an expo type of thing during South by. So that was cool. I want to shout out Daniel in Austin. He penned a 425 brevity lead. So that is really cool. Love to see it. Devin penned a 468 open house lead. So that was really cool. And then I saw that Brian Miller in Houston got a listing for 645 from door knocking. So there's a lot of stuff happening. Our core business will and should always be probably our sphere and the people around us who love and trust us. And then we build off of that with different lead gen levers. So I'm super excited to see all that happen. Brandon, yes, sir, I see you.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Sorry, not on camera. A couple shout outs for here in San Antonio. Alma, I've shouted her out a few times, and she's still killing it with appointments, but I think she has 2 more listings that are going to be coming up soon that were expired. And this is a lead gen lever that we've been working to build confidence and consistency in. And she's done that, and the results are starting to show up. And then shout out to Tamala and Alicia. There's been a nice little friendly competition here for pendings at one time, and so they're both at 7 right now, really working it. And something that we worked on last year, a lot of times it's real easy to have urgency with the results, but not being able to find the urgency and consistency to get those results. And that's starting to show up this year, especially in Tamala's business. And the results are there now, right? The urgency to turn things over, but also just to be consistent every day. And it's sometimes surprising how that happens, but it's really, that's what it takes, right? And so shout out to them too. And then shout out to Ray, his first listing. He took a off market, well, not an off market, but a really good potential off market, and ended up helping his clients take it to market recently. And they ended up with like 9 offers. And I think that's closing in the next couple of days. So shout out to him and getting that cash offer, but things are turning over. So shout out to everybody involved.
I love that. Yeah, definitely not seeing multiple offers here. So whatever you guys are doing, that's amazing. So happy for you guys. I love it. So today at 2:00 Central, I believe it's 2:00. Somebody please correct me if it's not this one. I actually should have checked. Chris Suarez is doing his open house training and panel. If you remember, Chris used to be like the open house guy. He's going back to his roots and definitely teaching open houses again. And the cool thing about him is he started his career 3 times, right? He started it in New York, he started in Eugene, and then he started in Portland, right? And to be able to start from scratch each time and to use the open house lead gen lever is super, super powerful. So if open houses, if they're part of your business plan, definitely tune in. I can't think of anybody better to teach on open houses. And I think there's a panel going on. So that's gonna be really cool today. Built How is next week. I just plugged into the chat. If you would like to join Women of Place, it's a whole new launch. That would be very cool if you're going to be there. And then Texas dinner is Tuesday night at 7 p.m. If you'd like to join, it's always on me. So I just love seeing our people because we only get to see each other a few times a year. Other than Zoom, we're super awesome. Elizabeth Gassos, are you guys doing anything for Place Innovators?
Yes, please check Slack. If you're on our Slack, we're doing a lunch on the 22nd. I have a reservation already, just needing to see like which bodies you're going to be there, but I'm only going off of whoever told me they're going to be there on Slack. So please check.
If somebody forgot to join Place Innovators, is there a way that they can join?
Yeah, I'll go get the link and put it in there. I just have like a quick form to tell me who's interested. So, and then I will add you to the Slack right now.
Okay, beautiful. I love it. Okay, I think that's all of our announcements. So we are going to get ready to switch gears. Who has read Unreasonable Hospitality? I can see a few hands. Okay, so that's cool. So some people have read it. If you haven't, it's one of Ben's favorite books for 2023. Like he reads a lot. So, some, are good books, and all of us read good books. And then there's some that just stand out. And this is a standout for him. One of the things I read was consistency is one of the most important and underrated aspects of being a leader. And we're all leaders to our clients, right? And then my second favorite quote in there was, what criticism offers you is an invitation to have your perspective challenged, or at least to grow by truly considering it, right? You might stick with a choice you've already been criticized for, or end up somewhere completely different. The end game isn't the point as much as the process. You grow when you engage with other perspectives and decide to look at it again. And so I love that today's panel is all about leveling up our hospitality. And you might think, I'm already awesome. I'm only here because my team leader wants me to be. And that's cool, no problem. No judgment. Sometimes I have to be on Zooms that I don't really want to be on either. But hopefully you guys are really here because you do want to learn. I've got a few awesome panelists. I'm going to go ahead and spotlight them for everybody. So we have Jordan in Dallas. We have Jen in Dallas. And when I say Dallas, I say all over the metro. Remember, they cover like 7 million people, which is super awesome. And then I have Grant in Houston. I'm going to add his spotlight, and I'm going to find Corey here in just a second. There he is, Corey. I'm going to spotlight him. And Corey, you are in Maryland, right? Frederick, or which area? Okay, you're muted. So I'm gonna, yeah, you're pulling Adelina. I did that first thing.
There we go. Yeah, about 45 miles north of DC in Frederick, Maryland.
Okay, awesome. Well, welcome to Texas.
Yeah, I'm happy to see. It feels a lot warmer there. I'll tell you that.
How's it like in your area? Is it?
It's 47 and no sun.
Okay, no, not interested.
I'll
Okay.
take your rain and 70 degrees all day.
Right on. Okay, so I want to start with Jordan. Jordan, you are in the Dallas metro area, yes?
Correct.
And a lot of us know you. For all of us who need to remember who you are, because maybe our memory is shorter. You started real estate a few years ago, or give us kind of like the down low on you.
Yep, I'm a COVID real estate baby. So I started in 2020.
Okay, I love it.
The team September 2020.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll take all the COVID babies. There we go. So hospitality, high level service. What is it that you're doing in your business that you feel like, man, this is really making a difference for me, and I'd love to share with you guys.
Yeah, so for me personally, I hate the idea of selling, which it terrified me going into this job, right? Because that's not something I consider myself either good at or something that I just enjoy doing. So for me, the first year was tough because I had to try and find a way to be who I am and still do stuff I didn't want to do, like cold calling people, which to me doesn't feel inherently like something you can do with an open heart, right? Like it feels very much like you're just trying to sell them on something. So I'm so grateful that I've had really good mentors in my life, because I come from the restaurant industry. And there's one in particular who was a life/work mentor, and then people like Jen Smith. So I'm so glad she's on the call. Remind me of what it means to be hospitable. And something I was thinking about that both of them reminded me of was like, it's not measured in how we give gifts, but it's measured in our genuine interest for wanting the best for other people, right? That's something I can do. And so what I had to realize, and Jen Smith workshopped this with me after I, to me, failed an open house because my conversation sucked, like awful. She reminded me, like, Jordan, what's in it for them? Nothing of what you asked them had anything to do with them.
Wow. Yeah.
So what that caused me to do is think about it like this, right? So I always thought of like a scale. So on one side of the scale, you have the dollar sign, which is the deal, because at that time I needed business. So my priority was, I need a business. I need a closing from them. So I failed because my conversation sucked. So on one side you have the deal, and on the other side you have the human being. And the moment that you care more about the deal than you do the human being, you've already lost.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not willing to have the right conversations with them. And that showed up recently in two different ways, one in a failed and then one in a win. Allie and I went to help this guy who was a for sale by owner, and he was very set about wanting to do things his way. But we just approached it from what are his needs and how can we help him, right? We did end up getting something signed with him, but then he later said, you know what? I found a guy who's going to do it for $200. I'm just going to let him do it. And I said, you know what, man? Like, it sounds like this is really important for you to do this on your own. And I think that you should. So we weren't worried about the deal at that time, but because we showed up that way, he gave us a referral for his neighbor across the street, who is a $750 sell and like another $350 buy. If we wouldn't have gone in there with the mindset of, don't worry about the deal, don't worry about him listing, focus on his needs and really hear him, I don't think we would have gotten that referral. And that to me is the first like big win. Yeah. The second one is a fail. And this is more proof why we need it's a fail, but I made it a win. I did an open house at a very high price point and I got a lead from it. Because I was so excited about the high price point, I didn't follow my steps that I usually do. I didn't do a consult with them. I didn't ask if they had an agent. I didn't even find out like, hey, what's super important to you? So I showed them a couple homes. that I thought were perfect for him, and they weren't. He didn't move forward. And then on top of that, he had another agent showing him already, and I didn't ask. So here I am wasting my time driving around. Once I had that shift in mindset, I went back to his house and I just said, hey, let me come over and let's just reconnect. What's amazing is when I did that, I actually found out why those other homes weren't a good fit for him. And on top of that, as we were leaving, that's when he told me he had another agent. I was like, you know what? Okay, I can approach this in two different ways. I can give up, or I can just like push myself a little bit. And I said, okay, I understand why you're using that agent. It came from your dad. What can I do to earn your business? And then he just said, well, I just didn't know that it was important to you that way. So if you want to be in charge of all my showings and help me find the house, I'm happy to let you do it. So I failed early on because I didn't actually care about him. And that I don't like feeling that way. But I changed my mindset and I said, let's focus on him and his needs. And let's really get to understand him. And now I have a much better relationship with him. I understand what he's looking for. And now I get to be the one who helps him. So that's, yeah.
Jordan, you're awesome. One thing I picked up from you was your level of self-reflection is part of why you have such great service, right? It's not that we're perfect. Actually, man, I bet all four of you like have things that you want to improve on. There's probably more that you want to improve on than what you feel like you're doing right. But the fact that you are reflecting on every piece of this is what makes you so great. And those are really, really great examples. The chat went off. Thank you this morning. I love that. Sometimes we expect something tangible, right? But really it starts right up here. Right on. Love that, Jordan. Jen, going to you. You were already shouted out. You've got a good team partner over there in Jordan. Good morning, Jen.
Good morning. Yeah, Jordan's amazing. And I love that he's continues to look for ways to grow himself. And I'm honored that he looks to me as somebody that can help grow him. I mean, it's a privilege.
Totally. How long have you been in real estate now? Just remind us.
I'm at the beginning of my 6th year.
Okay.
Before real estate, I was in hospitality. I was in the restaurant industry for 33 years.
Oh, well, okay. Say no more. Tell us what you want to say this morning, how it all looks like in real estate for you. That's awesome. Could not have planned that any better.
Well, what I love about real estate that I wasn't able to do in the restaurant industry is actually change people's lives. I come from service. It's just, it is my being, right? I don't know how to be any other way after so many years of that being my background. But what I love is that I actually have now the ability not just to create an experience. I certainly get to do that, but I actually get to elevate that in making an impact and a difference in their lives and potentially future generations that I may or may never know. So that opportunity to actually care for people on that level is what I'm passionate about. I mean, I've done certain things that, in reading the book that I think are fun, that demonstrate unreasonable hospitality. But I think it's always where you're coming from that really sets the tone and makes a difference.
I love that. You're so right on that. What does it look like in real estate as opposed to the restaurant industry? Like, are there examples that you feel like this would be beneficial if we did it more at scale or other people did it? What does that look like for you?
I think it always starts with the conversation, and from coming from, how can I help this person? What do they really need? What would make the biggest difference for them? Because it's different for everybody, right? I don't know about scalable. Some of the things that I've done, the one thing that certainly would be scalable is that I love to do. I had a seller. We were a contingent offer back when things were challenging to get a contingent offer accepted. We got it accepted. The listing agent had a big concern that we wouldn't get to market soon enough because we weren't on market yet, but I had assured her that I'd been in this home and we could go to market in a day. Like I could have pictures taken within a day. I went over to the house and to help my seller any way that I could, move furniture, pack boxes. And the one thing she needed, because she was incredibly organized, really efficient, she just needed more boxes. So I went to Home Depot and got her every different size of box, tape, packing things, and just took it back over to her, checked in again, and then let her go for it. So that's a small one. I think that anybody could scale that. I think it's also fun to go to a listing appointment and have boxes and tape as a, when they sign with you. Oh, by the way, I brought you a little gift now that we know that you're moving, and we're moving forward together. Let me help you get started, because your next homework is
I
to
like
pack.
that. Let me help you get started. Okay, I wrote that down. That is very very scalable. Doesn't even have to be scalable, because what you said is it's not a one size fits all. So I'm excited to hear all of your different types of examples, because you're right. Everybody's different.
Yeah. So one of the ones early in my career, one of the first houses that I sold, it was a pier and beam house, and they had some foundation work requested from the buyer. And one of the things that had come undone was the toilet needed to be resat, and then a pipe needed to be reconnected under it. And they were fine with a handyman doing the work. They didn't feel like it needed to be a plumber. So my husband actually went over and did it for them, because the homeowner wasn't super handy, but Handy Randy can do anything. And so I'm super, super lucky to have him. He did that. I had somebody that I worked with in the restaurant help them sell their house. Then 2020 hit, March hit, and being in the restaurant industry, we all got furloughed. And so his house was under contract to sell. They weren't restaurants, so it was going through. We'd put an offer on a new build, and obviously we couldn't move forward until the world opened up again. So I had to find him a place to be. Now he has 3 kids. He had 4 dogs, 3 cats, something like that. And the option at that point was to move in with his mother-in-law, who had a 2-bedroom house. And I said, absolutely not. That's not where we're going. Doesn't make sense. And so I had just bought my first rental that January. It was just about ready to be rented. And so I moved them into that house for a month rent free, to give them a place to settle while we could get them to their next home. Ended up, we found them a better home, more perfect for them. It always works out. So did that. I've rehomed pets for people. I've helped with that. We had some clients that moved out here from Seattle. I'd met her at an open house. I actually had moved out here from Seattle at that point 12 years before. And anyway, they had a big box trailer with their motorcycles and all kinds of stuff in it. And we live on land, so they needed a place to park it. And they parked it out here for at least a month or so on our property. We've moved dog pens and helped build fence for people. Yeah, it's just, here's one of my favorites. I had an FHA buyer there was a barn. Now this barn almost didn't have a roof on it. I mean, it was pretty dilapidated, and yet it got called out because of peeling paint on the trim. So, and the seller had done a little bit of repairs on the house, but it wasn't doing any more. So I actually grabbed a can of paint from our house, and it wasn't far from here. And I went over and spent the day painting the trim on the entire barn. And then my client met me over, and he did some of the trim work on the house, and we got it done.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So it sounds like you're looking for ways in each transaction to be of service. Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's always what I'm going to ask is, how can I best serve them? And what can I do to make this a lasting memory? What do they need? What did they need?
Okay, so your filter was, how can I best serve them, and how can I make it a lasting memory?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I hope you guys wrote that down. That was really super good. Jen, I love 6 years of experience allows you to have 6 years of fun things to go back to. So we could all relate. And Elizabeth Gassos does want one of your kind of husbands. So if anybody's got a brother or anything like that seems very handy, she's on the market. So I love that, Judd. Absolutely. And pulling in the people around us, right? Because it doesn't always have to be you. You were the connector for them at that point.
Yeah.
Love that.
And I love that Chelsea on my team embodies that as well. Like, I think that she has a heart for service, but she definitely goes out of her way as well to find. She just recently had the seller, and they left a bunch of just junk at the house. And she went over with her husband, and they took a trailer, and Kayla on our team went and helped her as well. They made many loads out of that house to make it great for the buyer.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of times we think about like these like high level experiences or this like luxury experience as like it must be luxury. And the reality is our service is luxury, not necessarily like this. I mean, going and taking your trailer and picking up trash, guys, that is not glamorous. Like there's no glamour in that, right? But that makes a big difference to people.
Mhm.
Love that. Thanks so much, Jen. You're awesome.
Yeah,
Grant, Houston, good morning.
What's up, Adelina?
Well, it's nice to have you back again.
Oh.
So Grant, walk us through kind of like, what does it look like for you guys over there on your team in Houston? Have you guys started doing anything? Were there things that you were doing before? Like, what does it look like? Just give us your synopsis.
Yeah, so I mean, we've definitely, and I love hearing Jen, and one of the things I was going to comment on, if you notice, I think Jordan's demonstrating some of what makes him good at hospitality, because if you see, he's giving Jen some major props, both in what he said, but then here in the comments, like, here's where she's amazing. And that's probably more valuable to Jen, if I could guess, than if he's sending her a gift card in the mail or a custom printed t-shirt or gave her family coupons to some show or something, but just telling her, here's something that I know you're really good at, and I want other people to know that you're really good at that, is really, really meaningful. So I told you, Adelina, like we read this book, and we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago when we first introduced to the concept, and we've got a ways to go, I think, on adding some of the wow stuff. But what we have been good at is we've got a little script we call the Appreciate script. And I think that what hospitality really, really is about, the core, is letting people be seen and heard and communicating that they matter. And our mistake, I believe, is assuming that means I have to provide items that cost money. So I need to find a gift that will be meaningful, or I need to find something that will take a lot of time that'll be meaningful. So like, and I've done it. I've cleaned siding on clients' houses and things like that to help folks out. I think we all need to do those things. But part of what really makes something magic, if you've ever read, Seth Godin has a book called Free Prize Inside. And his concept is, we buy a box of cereal back in the day. We don't do this anymore. They changed all the fun. But you remember growing up, you'd go buy a box of Fruit Loops or whatever it was. And it wasn't about the Fruit Loops. It was about, there was some sort of Disney figurine in there that you really just needed to have. And it was a race between you and your brothers and sisters to see who could get their hand in there first to get that thing out. So the magic to it, I think, is we needed to be really, really good at service. That's a key thing. And the transactional side of making real estate easy and fun and rewarding can be done better by everybody. But the thing I think we should really be thinking about is, what is something completely unexpected that's what I do. And for me, like, I don't do closing gifts, and I haven't done them for years, because there's a degree of expectation that my agent gives me a cutting board or the bottle of wine or something there at closing. So if I do that, it really is more fulfilling an expectation that they had, and there's nothing truly special or meaningful about it. What's more meaningful is a phone call 3 months later saying, have you guys finished unpacking stuff yet? What do you need help with? What if he knows it's not working yet, or making a note, like I made some notes even from what Jordan was saying. I think the real key with it is developing a behavior of listening really, really well, and making notes like, so two of the biggest wins I've had on the hospitality front is a client whose mother died. And I went into our Brevity and I made a number of tasks to make sure I contacted them at different milestones, a month later, 3 months later, 6 months, a year. When all the well-wishers, when all the condolences disappear after that first week or so, doing a quick phone call saying, hey, I was just thinking about you. How are you guys holding up? Is super powerful. And with our Appreciate script, that one's really easy. Do you want to, I don't know, do you want to hear it, Adelina?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, guys.
I mean, I do, yeah.
All right. So unfortunately, our team hears it all the time. So sorry, guys. I think some of you guys are in here. Okay, so here's this. What I'm just I'm gonna call you Adelina. So just pick up the phone. All right. So ring ring.
Hello?
Hey, it's Adelina.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, hey, Adelina, it's Grant Rothberg. How are you?
Oh man, I'm good. It's a dreary day here in Austin.
Every day as it seems. Hey, I'm about to head into a quick appointment, but I just want to give you a quick call and let you know that I appreciate you.
Oh wow, for what?
You know, it's kind of a crazy time. The year's been wild. We got all kinds of crazy stuff happening, but I've seen now a couple times the way that you lead a huge group of agents so well. You're thoughtful, you care about them, you want them all to succeed, and it's something that stands out in our industry. So anyway, I'm just thankful to have you in my life, and let's catch up some more soon. We both have some more time, okay?
Love that.
Cool. All right, see you. And that's it. So like I'm in the same boat as Jordan. When I started doing real estate, the last thing I wanted to do was to sell junk. I didn't want to do it. Now I believe like Jen that real estate is so powerful because I can change lives with real estate. So that makes it easier to change my mindset. But still, I don't want to cold call. I don't want to convince. I don't want to do any of that. So for me, this is my cold call script to old past sphere and friends and people that I haven't talked to in forever. I don't want to call them and ask them if they thought about taking advantage of the market. But I can call them and say, you know, Jordan, I will let you know how much I appreciate you. Well, what do you mean? When I was in high school, no one liked me, but you sat next to me, and when I didn't have a pencil that day, you gave me one. Small thing, but it meant a lot. I want you to know that I'm thankful for it. So let's catch up more soon. We both have some more time. That's it.
Love that. Love that. Man, there's one thing that this reminds me of, because you guys are all three different people, right? And Corey will be up and four different kind of people, right? And you all found ways to succeed, right? It's not a one size fits all, right? And that's okay, right? Like you're gonna cold call the way you're gonna cold call, and I love the appreciate script, right? Everybody's gonna do it their way, and there's not a wrong way. The wrong way is like not getting out there, not helping people.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. It's easy. What's cool too, if you're someone like me or Jordan, where if we sit there and we get no too many times, we start to wear it. It's great if I can make some phone calls, and every time, and Adelina is going to be a little surprised and she'll be thankful. So the first time I did this and cracked the code, I called a guy who it's the same kind of stunned thing. What are you talking about? Okay. Oh, wow. Thanks so much. I appreciate you too. Goodbye. And then as all good real estate agents do, I started browsing Facebook, and on Facebook, he tagged me in a post, and he said, Grant Rothberg is the most thoughtful, nicest guy in the world. I just got the best call in the world for him. He had no idea I was having a hard day, and it just totally changed my day around. And I was like, man, it cost me nothing. It cost me, you see that script is 30 seconds, a minute max, and I'm off the phone. And I can talk to 20, 30 people in an hour and really help them have a great day. Let them know they matter.
I love that. Very unreasonable. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. Love that. Love that. Corey, Mr. Maryland.
It's a weird day here, right? Our Terps are in a border battle in March Madness with West Virginia. I've already had too much coffee this morning, so I'm not sure where this day will go, but grateful to be with you guys in Texas.
How long have you been in the business? Give us kind of a little synopsis of you so we can kind of learn about you. This is the first time for you here in Texas.
Yeah. Thank you. I've been in the business for 6 years. My business partner, Drew, has been in the business for 12. We have a small team of now 6 agents. We started with 3 in place in December, and now we're up 3 more. Last year, I guess really the 3 of us did around 55 million in volume. And we had 2 employees, and we just continue to grow, and we're excited to be at place and keep moving forward.
Right. We're glad you're here. Awesome.
Yeah.
What does that high level service look like to you guys? What are you guys doing out there?
Well, I think it's important to remember, first off, everyone here I've already taken incredible notes from all 3 of you. It's also really important to remember and know that unreasonable hospitality just isn't for our clients. And I think Grant mentioned this when Jordan was supporting Jen. The same goes true for the people in our world, the people on our team, our friends, our family. If you're not a leader on a team, perhaps you're a leader to your friends, you're a leader in your household. So unreasonable hospitality can go across any spectrum. And I think that's why this book relates so well to just our personal life, our real estate. So that's something to remember. And also too, Gary Keller talks a lot about this. You know, I think he said it maybe a year or 2 years ago at one of the events, maybe 3 or 4. You know, when you're walking up to a listing appointment, you're the first person to know that person wants to sell their house. The first question you should ask yourself is, do I want to buy it? And you flip that and make that kind of a relationship sense or a question. We're really on the front line of how our clients are feeling.
Yeah.
How the people in our world are feeling. So having the ability to improv and react, as Will talks about in the book, is super important. You mentioned the scalability earlier. One of the things that we've been super good with, and not so much scaling, is being consistent and asking ourselves every morning in every team meeting when a challenge comes up, the question comes out of either myself or Drew's mouth: how can we show unreasonable hospitality in this moment? And that always leads to a great outcome, right? Because typically we're surrounded by our entire team and we all kind of just ask that question and someone will shout it. So me or Anna or Eric or Brandon. And that's helped us a lot. It's just kind of keeping that in front of us. How in this moment can we be unreasonable with the situation at hand? Whether there was a death in the family, a loss of a pet, perhaps a birth in the family. What can we do to show support and be there? So that's been a big part of what we do. Melanie has kind of turned into our Dreamweaver. She's our listing coordinator, but also our VIP extraordinaire. So what she does is she scours Facebook for like our active clients and our past clients and sees what's going on in their life. If it's, again, so she kind of steps in for us and does a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of if it is a newborn, perhaps there's a baby gift that shows up. If there's a loss in the family, flowers. And Grant, I love the idea of when something like that happens, do that week call, that 30-day call. That's how you build relationships. In our business, it's important. We're about 87% referrals database from our people. So that's super important.
Can I ask, like, how often she's scouring Facebook? Is that like once a week, once a day?
Yeah, it's weekly.
Okay.
And we talk about it at our team meeting.
Okay.
That we've recently moved to Monday, and that bothers me. But that's another story. But so we always bring that up, and kind of Mel has about 15 minutes of conversation of what she's seeing in the world, what's going on, and then we have the conversation, how can we be unreasonable as well. And in terms of
Yeah.
And in terms of our VIP gift boxes, again, it's just a way to show appreciation for the people that support us. We do quarterly boxes, none of which is branded to us, but is locally sourced. About probably 95% of it's locally sourced. And I got a text the other day from Kevin, and he was like, "Corey, I can't believe this, but I was running out of my house because I needed some ginger beer. And I see this box from you, and I wasn't going to open it. And I was like, who knows? Maybe there could be ginger beer in there." But it was true. Our VIP box for the spring was a Moscow Mule set, and there was ginger beer in there. And you best believe 6 hours later, I showed up with a case of ginger beer. So he didn't have to go back out for his next round.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I love that. So, like, while the quarterly box is totally an awesome touch, the unreasonable hospitality was you showing up, knowing that that was important to him. That's awesome.
That's really great. That was, Mel does a great job on that. And there's also a page, I think it's 184. I'm not Chris Suarez. I can't just shout out a page number. Not yet. But page 184, something that we always keep asking ourselves too, is what would we attempt to do if we knew we couldn't fail on this book? And one of the things that's on our roadmap and something that we want to do that would be unreasonable is have, instead of a moving truck or a moving van, is have a settlement van, like a really nice, luxurious Mercedes van that's wrapped that says we're on our way to settlement, where we pick clients up from work, we pick them up from their home and bring them into the office and take them back. Wow. So they can relax on the way to settlement. And just kind of having that driving around town. Yeah.
Very cool. To your point on quarterly boxes, do you have a budget around that? Like, what kind of, if somebody wanted to ever start that, like, what would be some steps for that?
Our budget is around $45 to $75 per box.
Okay. And who is it going out to?
It's going out to, so in our VIP program, when someone refers us or puts us in connection with someone who's looking to buy or sell, within 24 hours, a bottle of champagne shows up with a thank you card. Once we actually have
a $100 champagne bottle, is that like a $20 champagne bottle? Give us context.
I think it's Veuve. It's Veuve champagne. It's like 65 or 75. Okay. And then once we sit down with the person, once the appointment has been held, whether they sign with us or not, that's not their job. Our job is to close them. It's not my database's job to close them. So they're just for the act of referral and the act of them agreeing to sit with us. They're in our VIP program. So aside from the quarterly boxes that go out, it's completely not branded to us whatsoever. We do quarterly VIP events as well. So for example, we rented out a brewery on April 2nd, and that is for our whole database event. Open bar, free food truck, cigar roller, live music. We've been doing that for a few years. However, this year for the VIP event, we're actually working with Brian and Carly, the owners of the brewery, and our VIPs are going to arrive an hour early and do a private beer tasting with the owners, and as well as get a brewery tour as well. Yeah, I won't be there. I won't be there because it'll be the first hour of our event. So again, it's not about us; it's about them having that experience with them and enjoying that.
Yeah, I love that. So like what I hear you say is like we've got our standard of service, whatever that looks like in each market, because each market's going to be special, it's going to be different, right? The DC market, totally different from if I was in St. Louis, right? But what you're doing is you've got your standard of service, and then you've got like what makes it like unreasonable, right? Me coming in an hour early as your VIP for a beer tasting, like I think that's awesome, right? Like that's very special. That feels special.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that. I saw the smiles across the board. The people in Texas, they do love beer. It was instant. You were speaking our language here.
Awesome. Well, find me at a bar next mega camp if you're there. Beers on me.
Love that. Love that. Man, really good. I want to call on just Elizabeth because she posted something in chat and I just want to get clarity on it. Elizabeth, can you teach us how you tag on Facebook? Just because I'm not familiar. I'm so sorry. I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to remember what it's called. I think it's just adding people to groups. I can do like a video or something about it later, but yeah, in your Facebook, each friend, you can add them to categories. So like if you went to high school together, if they're an agent, if they're past client, you can actually put them in categories and then only look through their feeds. You can also post things to an audience. And so you can only post things to like your realtor audience, for example, if you're wanting to get more agent referrals. And so if you don't want like your other friends to necessarily see all that stuff, you can do that. I was taught to do that by my friend Tara Carter. She's in Miami. She's a 3rd generation real estate agent, never bought a lead. And most of their, all of their business is referral and stuff. And she actually doesn't add anyone to her friends list until she's able to sit down and categorize them. And so you'll sit in her like requests for a month if she doesn't have time to do it. And then she'll categorize everyone. And then she kind of does the D2D, what is it? I can't remember what it's called.
Do the two.
Yeah, do the database too. And sorry, my dogs went wild. but she'll do that in her Facebook as well.
I remotely remember this from back in the day. Like, man, I'm getting old because certainly like I think I remember being able to group your friends in different groups. And I remember doing it. And then obviously I'm not anymore. So here I am learning something. And I think you all bring up something really special because you guys are all very, very referral based. And people have a perspective sometimes that referral based is just waiting on something to happen. And that's so far from the truth, right? If like Jordan, Jen, Grant, Corey, Elizabeth just waited for somebody to send them a referral, they'd be waiting for a long time, right? Because that's not how the world works, right? You're constantly finding ways to be intentional with your conversations. Is there anything that I missed at all that we need to address this morning? Yay, nay?
I just put this in the chat that it's also super fun. It's super fun to surprise and delight people. Our days can be super like hectic and stressful sometimes. So it's just cool to like weave it into your day to like make someone's day or go the extra mile for someone.
Yes. How can you weave it into your day to like make somebody's day? Like one person, and it's always the power of one, right? Like sometimes we want to like change the entire world, right? Like if you're any kind of like, if you have any kind of vision, you do want to change more than one person's life, but man, it's fun to do one. I love that. Brandon, going to you. I see your hand up.
Yeah, just awesome call. And you know what I heard from the panelists was kind of two different ways to deliver hospitality. One of them was giving them something expected or unexpected, like a gift or an invitation or VIP treatment. And the other thing was like removing friction from anything that they're doing, right? Not just something we would be obviously doing, like helping them find a house or list their home on the market or anything like that, but like a little hack that I try to use when I'm trying to do something extra for someone. And I'm going to use the word worry, even though that's kind of like a negative kind of word, right? But it's the same thing to I think Corey's point is it's the same thing that we try to do for each other as partners in this model is remove the worry. And when we're removing worry, what are we adding? Peace of mind, right? And a lot of times our clients, I've found, like anybody in life, they don't have peace of mind in a lot of places sometimes when they're doing something stressful, whether that's getting married, having a kid, or moving, buying a house, getting a new job. And so the little hack that I always try to remember is like, how can I tell them not to worry about this thing? And I've noticed that when we're able just to pull one small thing, even if for us it's easy, right? Like inviting them to close at the office instead of 40 miles across town. San Antonio's huge, right? But if we could just say, you know what, like, don't worry about that. I got it. And what I've noticed here in San Antonio is sometimes that's not even us paying for something. It's not even us doing something outside of making a connection to the vendor or person that can take care of it. And so it doesn't have to be that hard. And where I've seen people struggle with this is, and this is me sometimes as well, is like, sometimes I'm just not naturally that thoughtful, right? Like I wish, I think after the fact, like, dang, that was a good chance right there. I really could have went and got them that hot dog, right? Like Will talks about in the book. And they weren't really like doing anything crazy. They were just taking away the worry from those tourists. If you've read the book, you know the story that they're going to have to come back and try a hot dog next time. And to put it at the first thing on their itinerary, all he did was go give them peace of mind. Like, hey, your New York dining experience is done. Here's what it is. But I noticed in the beginning, I would be real easy to pick up on the, like, I'll help you cut your grass. I'll come back and paint and the stuff that some other people said today. But where I'd miss it was those other things that weren't labor intensive. I'd say, God damn, you know what? I know Adelina. I could have just connected them with Adelina a month ago. I missed it. So what I try to think about now is like, when they bring up a problem, I'm like, how can I be the person that tells them, hey, you know what? Don't worry about that. I got it. Go to bed. I'll take care of it. By tomorrow, this won't be a problem. And sometimes it's just calling someone you already know, HVAC person or a lender or someone who takes photos for their kids or whatever. And then it's like, hey, I got that tomorrow at 5 o'clock. They're already ready to call you and meet with you. And I was trying too hard, essentially, is the feedback here. And I've heard everybody today on the call so far, like it's not that hard if you focus on it. And that gives me some confidence to intertwine some things back into our business model or things we haven't considered yet. So I appreciate that. But it's like, how can we just take one piece of worry off of someone's plate every day, and they'll love you for that. They'll call you back for that.
Love that. So well said. So well said. Daniel, going to you. I see your hand.
Yeah, I think one thing I love about this call is, like, especially if you're new, it removes, like, this approach removes that nervous energy, like when you're at open houses and whatnot, to try to, where you're so focused on saying the right thing, right, to try to get the result that you want. Like what everyone said, like this approach, I feel like gives a much more natural conversation, even though you're following a script. And I love what Jordan said about, right, the two, like, like there's the deal and then there's the person. And I feel like if you're shy of pendings or if you're brand new, it's so easy to fall into the category of the deal, and how it really is just stepping back and just, okay, like, what am I saying? Like, am I caring? Like, what type of conversations am I having? Because I feel like when you're able to remove that nervous energy and just stop and just, okay, like, I wouldn't have this type of conversation with, like, it's just interesting when you're on the platform, right? The type of conversations you're having, like, you wouldn't have those type of conversations with a random stranger when you're at the pressure at an open house. And so being able to stop and have authentic conversations to figure out what is important to that person. I just love that, because then people pick up on it and you're saying the same thing, but you're saying it more authentic because you truly do care. And I've just learned over the past 2 years for myself, like, it's easier to have those conversations. I mean, you kind of have to learn, right? You got, like Adelina, like you said, you have to put in Like in order to have those conversations, you have to put in the reps, right? Like you're not going to be able to have those conversations unless you put in the reps. But coming at a place of contribution kind of breaks down that that urgency to get a deal. Anyhow, I just loved it.
Yeah, it's interesting because all of us here on the call, like, if I ask Jen, how much money did you make 5 years ago? Like, maybe she remembers, maybe she doesn't, but I bet like whatever clients like that she really, really loved working with, and they loved working with her. I bet she remembers the clients, right? We all remember the people that we served, right? Like money is important. We all like, nobody's discounting that, but it's the byproduct. It is not the goal, right? Love
Yeah,
that.
and I think, and real quick, because for me, I'm so social, so it's really easy to have conversations with strangers. And anytime there's an agenda attached to it, suddenly I found myself in the beginning becoming very robotic, right? But that's because the genuine care for what that person needed was removed, because suddenly I felt like this sales aspect of it made me make sure you say the right thing to a certain amount of people and you'll get the result. You get in your head, right? And as soon as I started having conversations where it was, a genuine conversation that I would be able to have someone on the side of the road, which I'm naturally good at, and just saying it in a different way, more like original, suddenly I was able to get results, right? But
Love that. Love that. Helen, going to you. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, good morning. I love this panel because I felt like it really speaks to my heart. I'm relatively new, and something I struggled with was, am I still professional if I'm the way that I am, which is a very caring person? And so it's like, okay, I got to be focusing on like getting them to sign the loyalty agreement, getting them to sign, And so to hear that it's okay to to love on them, to give them that and that attention to, I there's a sign on my forehead that says, oh, let me tell her all of my business. And so, I always end up getting backstories and family drama and all this stuff like very early into meeting with people. And I'm like, okay, so like, you're my friend now, but like, are you supposed to be my friend because you're supposed to be my signed client? And so it was just always very weird for me to try to navigate. And so this makes me feel better that the way that I am and the time that I spend with people, not always talking about what their next step is in the home buying process, that's still okay. And it's still valuable, with our interaction, the whole thing that we do with them. So thank you guys so much for your time this morning.
Can I?
Yeah, Helen, I was gonna.
say-
Yeah, go ahead, Jordan.
Oh, sorry. Just real quick, like not only is it okay, but that's what's gonna set you apart, right? And that's what they're gonna remember you for. So if your only challenge is getting them to sign, that's when you just add that at the very end. But that's something that I had to learn, is like all that stuff that you just mentioned, the fact that they trust you so early on is such a good thing. And that's why they're gonna remember you and trust you.
Love that. Corey, were you going to say something?
I was. Helen, you're awesome. And I can't think of a faster way to build rapport and gain new friendships than being vulnerable with someone and making that friendship. So stay you and just keep rocking. The more you love them, the more they'll love you.
Right on.
The more, I'm going to piggyback on what Corey said. It's exactly that. The more that you're authentically yourself and being vulnerable, the more that they get to be who they are. You actually grow the space that they get to be exactly the way they are. And it creates this comfort and this relatedness that can't be done any other way. You actually get to love the human being in front of you, not as something in it for you, but as a full experience.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Brandon, wrap us up with your one example.
Yeah, it's something that I totally forgot. But this week, I know I kind of rambled a little earlier, but here's an example of just making the connection. And so earlier this week, we had an agent on the team, one of our partners, put their buyers under contract and they were excited up front. And then they went and talked to somebody, a friend that lives nearby that used to be a police chief or do something in law enforcement, and told them like, hey, I don't know if you want to live around here. We used to get a lot of calls, blah, blah, blah. And so it was either the husband or the wife. One of them started having real concerns, which is a real thing, right? We want people to be comfortable. So when the agent brought this to me, they said, hey, this one might not work out because there's some contention now in the area. And I pulled up the Brivity app and I said, hold on a second. And if you guys know, in the Brivity app, you can see where all your past clients are at. And I remembered I have a past client down the street from their house, and I talk to them pretty often, and they have never expressed any bad feedback. So I said, hey, hold on, let me call this client and catch up with her a little bit. And I called her and I kind of explained what was going on. And she said, hey, you know what? If they want to jump on a call with me and my husband, we'll talk to them. 30 minutes later, I think those two clients were on a call. Peace of mind. My clients lived there 3 years. And so they said they had that conversation. So not only are they potential friends now, but it helped them remove that worry of having never lived in that neighborhood. And it didn't cost anything. It just took us to pay attention a little bit more. And now that's somebody has confidence. They moved their closing date up and they're super excited and confident in that neighborhood now, in that area. And that was just us leveraging our partnership and our technology to make a connection. And so I just thought about that as we were talking about this earlier.
Yeah, I love that. I love like how we can turn things around by paying attention. God, this is a great panel, you guys. This is so much fun. I'm so appreciative, Jordan and Jen and Grant and Corey and everybody who just engaged this morning. Lots of engagement. I have one correction. Jen Smith corrected me on this, and thank you so much. Chris's call today is at 1 p.m., not 2 p.m. our time, right, Jen? Yes, our time? Okay, perfect. 1 p.m. Central. And Sarissa reminded me that the reason we love Chris and his just the fact that he's teaching, he built a $40 million business just on open houses before he added any other levers, right? So there's so much opportunity out there. So I'm excited about that. Everyone who's going to be at Built How, excited to see you in real life, human. I will have like an 8-month pregnant situation. So hopefully you recognize me. If you don't, that's okay. I'll be having a baby. And then we'll be back the week after Built How. So we'll see everybody soon. And then if you're not going to Built How in Palm Springs, just catch up on all of your relationships next week. And then in the fall, it's in Phoenix. Remember, September 11th through the 14th. So just plan on being in Phoenix. It's a quick little like 2-hour flight. So it'll be awesome and really fun.
Hey, Adelina.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, everybody, say a prayer, give some love to Helen. Helen is having a baby next week.
Woo! All right, look at all
and she's still on the call. She is amazing.
Oh God, look at all these future leaders here. I love it. I love it. You guys rock. Thank you so much for this morning. Thank you for pouring into our people. Thank you for engaging in your business the way you do and just leveling up. You guys are awesome. Talk to you guys soon, okay? Bye, guys.
Thank you.